Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Eddie Estrada on the line, and he's the Director of Business Development over at Arvato Supply Chain Solutions. Eddie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Adam. Thank you for having me on. It's a bit of a privilege to be requested to be on, so thank you.
So I'm excited to get into what you're doing over at Arvato Supply Chain Solutions and how you help your clients. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how'd you get started in your career and in your profession?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I've been hearing some other of your podcasts, and it's a very similar story. I come from two entrepreneurial parents, immigrant parents, so first generation here in the U.S., and I've seen them put in the necessary work to be successful. So right out of school, I started in the print media publishing business, and then immediately transferred into international trade. I spent some time working in Asia, both on the product manufacturing side, specifically in high tech, and I was head of Latin America for a company named Inex, privately owned company. Shortly after, I transitioned into UPS, and that's where I got my corporate education side of the business, understanding large-scale models, understanding complex global supply chains, and really looking at it from a win-win situation, looking at how the customer should benefit from a solution. And then obviously there needs to be a return on investment for that overall scale solution for the organization. And ultimately just ended up at Arvato now, most recently.
That's awesome, and I think your career and your past of logistics and really solving international problems, I think it's really interesting because really the way that trade is moving and manufacturing, it's just, put it this way, it's not getting any smaller. And you think about things like the supply chain logistic problems of like Amazon and all these other huge companies that are out there. There's just so much opportunity for everybody involved. So that being said, we're going to get more into Arvato supply chain, but before we do that, there's some younger entrepreneurs listening right now, or even just starting their career and they're just graduating college and thinking about logistics or going down that route or supply chain as a potential career path. What kind of advice would you give to that person?
I think that's a fantastic question. I remember getting into supply chain, and back in maybe even as short as 8 years ago, supply chain was the stuff in the back room that nobody wanted to understand everything about.
Yep.
Now it's the sexy thing, right? Now it's the space where we have a lot of VC money coming into. We have a lot of digitization that's going into the sector, and I think that's making it very exciting. And probably the biggest advice that I could give to a up-and-coming person that wants to get into the sector is, yes, it's transforming. Yes, it's digitized. Yes, it has sped up a lot in most recent years. But looking at and studying the traditional values and the traditional core deliverables of supply chain is very important. And the second most important thing that people want to do is you have to put into work. It's not something that you can come out fresh out of college and look at getting into an organization and being able to change supply chains overnight. It's definitely a different animal when you're really out in the field and really out in looking at customer problems.
No, that's great advice, Eddie. And I think that's also a great transition. Let's switch it up a bit. I want to get into what you're doing over as Director of Business Development over at Arvato Supply Chain Solutions. So first, tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Absolutely. The company core values or the core deliverables are, basic 4PL warehousing. The company is privately owned and it's headquartered in Germany. They have their $18 billion business unit with over 1,000 employees globally under the Arvato Supply Chain Solutions umbrella. and they're wholly owned by the Bertelsmann Group. So Bertelsmann is the parent company of the organization. They do tailor-made solutions and sync it together with order-to-cash cycles. So they look at complex global supply chains for large-scale IT companies, server maintenance, remanufacturing, focusing on e-commerce, IT platforms, omni-channel, and more recently, the company is making a huge investment into supporting digital distribution models, financing, how do you back-end process the payment transaction of e-commerce sales, and online marketing services. It's a very broad portfolio, but it's for a very specialized sector of the business.
And what type of so if somebody's listening to this and they've heard a little bit more about your background and now they've heard a little bit more about Arvato Supply Chain Solutions, and they don't know if they'd be a good fit to give you guys a call, what's your sweet spot in terms of type of client that you like to work with?
We like customers that are looking to transform their supply chain. I mean, here in the States, my job with Arvato now is I'm in charge of North America business development. The company is relatively small here in the U.S., but it's looking to make a serious investment and a serious push. So in the United States, we're focusing on customers with high-tech peripherals and servers. So if companies manufacture servers for data management, if they need reformatting, if they need product downloaded, for example, similar services to what AWS does, and if they need 4PL model distribution, and definitely online marketing services. So web developers, app developers, software developers, if they need to have they need to sell software that needs to be downloaded from a specific website, we have online marketing solutions that can support with that.
And so, Eddie, what's the best way for somebody to reach out to either you or to learn more about Arvato Supply Chain Solutions if they're interested?
Definitely, they can reach me on email. That's eddie.estrada@arvato.com. They can find me on LinkedIn under Eddie Estrada, and on Instagram, I am Eddie_E. Those are probably the best ways to reach out to me and touch bases to see what opportunities or how we can help.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Eddie, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work you're doing over at Arvato Supply Chain Solutions. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes store, do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Eddie, thank you again for coming on the show.